And if you look up Wolfing Cookies on YouTube, Len is the guitar player.
That's correct. And yeah, Google us. We're around. We left a sort of a skid mark on the world in the mid-1980s, punk pop. And we did have an album and a couple of 45s, but we left. Two of us left college early. The other two guys hadn't gone to college yet, and we booked a tour, went on the road, and put out our own record. And the van broke down, and we couldn't afford to get it fixed, and we wound up stranded in Athens, Georgia. And that's sort of the backdrop.
But not just stranded in Athens, Georgia for like 2 months.
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah. We canceled the whole rest of the tour and wound up living in a skate house with these skate punks that actually built their own. It was really cool. They'd built their own half pipe in the backyard. And so it was a fun time. But we had to cancel all the rest of the tour dates, and we all had fast food jobs trying to earn money to get home. In the end, we raided the drummer's college fund and came home.
Not much more punk rock than just being stranded and staying there.
What else were we going to do, right?
So I loved in the advance copy the line that you wrote a little letter to the booksellers, and the line that really stuck out to me was, it's not a memoir. You talk about what the book becomes, but then you say, this is the story for every kid that has ever found happiness, confidence, and friends through music. And I think that's something our audience can absolutely relate to, because it's not top 40. It's every genre under the sun. And we have listeners who've been with us for 30 years who just said, I turned it on one day and I've never heard anything like it, and it changed my life. So it's sort of this collective experience of music changing people's lives.
Yeah, music to me is the most powerful force on the planet, or certainly one of them, and it's certainly one of the most universal forces on. It's universal the way math is, And I, by the way, I tuned you guys in as soon as I got into my rental car, and I've not turned it off. I've been loving it because it's a lot of stuff that I have not otherwise heard, and which is fantastic. But yeah, especially for teens, it's such a point of community and connection. Not just teens, but adults too. But I think it's sort of hyper focused when you're a teenager, that that's the story I wanted to tell. And the book is, in a lot of ways, the book is a love letter to music.
And so how did you get from there? How did you get from stranded in Georgia, playing in a punk rock band, dropped out of college? How did you get from there to, in dropping out of film school, how did you get from there to writing? So
I've always written, well, I shouldn't say always. I started writing creatively for pleasure in high school. I had So 1980, I was in the 10th grade, and there were two class assignments that I'll never forget. One is I wrote a one-act play about two Christmas trees dying on the side of the street talking to each other, which I liked it. And then the other one was Sesame Street 2020. And remember, this is 1980, so this is 40 years in the future. And Bert and Ernie are an old gay couple living together, and the count is teaching kids to count by putting bullets in a gun. And Oscar's a drug addict. And I had a really forward-thinking teacher, and she gave them great grades and encouraged me. And I've written ever since. When the band broke up, I knew I wanted to do something with that experience. So within a couple of months of us having gone our separate ways, I sat down and I wrote 90 or 100 pages of notes. Everything I could remember. And I spent years trying to do something with it. I terrible screenplays, awful short stories. And you said that it kept coming back. You realized you were writing a memoir, but you really didn't want to write a memoir. Right. I was after something more universal. And exactly what you said about music a minute ago, because what I had experienced was something more universal. And that's how I stumbled onto this character, Harbinger, who is so isolated and alone that really he sees no way out, and music is his way out.
If you're just tuning in, we're in the studio with Len Vlahos. He's reading tonight at Boswell Books up on Downer Avenue at 7 p.m. His book is called The Scar Boys, a young adult reader about sort of how music can change a young person's life, and it's told through the protagonist is quite a name.
Harbinger Robert Francis Jones.
There you go. And so how did you start with this character? Was it sort of loosely based on you, or did you sort of just look at the collective model? Because especially in high school years, that's when everybody splinters off into their own little worlds, and that's, I think, when music touches small groups of people in really powerful ways. Yeah, the character came to me because another theme running through the book is just the feeling of being isolated and alone, which is something, I think not only every teen feels, but every adult feels from time to time. And by the way,
right. That's one of the things. I'm, it is a young adult novel, but I kind of hate. I work in the publishing industry, but I hate labels because there's so much good adult fiction that should cross over to teens, and so much good young adult fiction that should cross over to adults. So I kind of like to think of it as just a story, but I wanted to tell a story about a kid who was so isolated that music could kind of become the thing for him, and that's kind of how I stumbled onto this character. I should also tell you that this is not a typical reading we're doing tonight. It's sort of like a reading on steroids. There's video, there's music. I'm trying to do something just a little more fun.
So you sort of visualize what the experience for the protagonist is, or for the reader?
No, I kind of tell the whole woofing cookies story and how that relates to the book, and I've got some old really embarrassing video clips. And
so you brought your guitar. Are you going to bust out some woofing cookies for us?
Right now?
Yeah.
I can play you. There's so in 3 places in the book, Harbinger, who is known as Harry in the book, writes out lyrics for songs for the Scarboys, and the Scarboys is the name of the band that he and his friends form. And 2 of those songs are Old Woofing Cookies lyrics my friends let me use, and one of them is a song I wrote when I was Harry's age. I could play that last one.
Let's do it. While he gets ready to play again, it's Len Vlahos. His book is called The Scarboys. He'll be at Boswell Books tonight at 7 p.m. for a multimedia presentation around his book. So
yeah, and I should emphasize for you, Ryan, that I'm a guitar player. I'm not necessarily a singer.
Right.
And this is from near the very end of the book, and it's sort of a big emotional scene where 2 of the characters are all talked out, and Harry picks up a guitar and starts playing, and the other character starts singing. You give a little and take a lot, and distant guns are echoing shots. You never find the time to stop. You just keep reaching for the top. Think you're walking a thin line, but you're not able to see what's at stake. Innocence is just a game, a joke is a joke by any name, and all the sheets that bear the stains of all the people you've ever made were your own. Sophomore grasp for fame. I must have known you were a fake. Had your chance to do your time, rectify your useless crimes, but don't worry, no one noticed. Your eyes are flooded with gin, and your head is needles and pins, knee deep in original sin. Everything just started to spin. Someone had better notify your next of kin that you might not make it. Had your chance to do your time, rectify your useless crimes, but don't worry, no one noticed. Don't worry, no one noticed.
That's Len Vlahos in studio. He's the author of Scarboys, a reading tonight at Boswell Books at 7 p.m. And I feel like there should be a bit of technology that can take what you just did and put it through a filter and spit it out like it's like the book probably has it, where like they're teenage kids in a garage with barely working instruments and a drummer who kind of can just play one beat, and that's one fill, and that's about it. Like the real, true late teens punk rock bands.
Yeah, one of the things I show at the book event is a video of Woof and Cookies from our first 6 months, and we are exactly that. It's hideously embarrassing.
I'm pretty sure every band at that age.
Every band,
exactly
yeah. That. But when you're 15 and you can put 3 chords together in an organized way to your own ears, you're the Beatles.
Wrapping up a little bit, you said something about you hope people enjoy it like refugees of the 80s you consider yourself. And this goes back to what you were saying before, how you hope it's how you don't like the young adult label because it's something that should and can be enjoyed by adults and a younger audience. But is there a lot in there that will speak to the folks of your age, that early 80s teen who when they pick it up, they'll take them right back.
Yeah,
to
I'm
something.
super biased, but yes, I think so. I think anybody who kind of remembers the '80s with sort of a wink and a nod, and I think anybody who loves music, I think will find something in this book.
What about? Give me one example of something that somebody from the early '80s would just hold on to and.
There's a scene where Harry and Johnny are, I think it's right when they decide to form a band, and it's 1981, and they're listening to the Black Flag for the very first time.
Oh, nice.
And it's, so it's just sort of a moment in time from anybody who sort of grew up with sort of alt, indie punk back then. You'll probably recognize that scene as being you.
Well, I think you chose the right audience to speak to right now.
Okay, good.
Because this very program has played plenty of Black Flag in the recent past. So again, Len Vlahos, his book is called The Scar Boys. He's reading tonight at Boswell Books at 7 p.m. It's going to have video from his young adulthood that represents that perhaps what got the book started. Audio clips, did you say too as well?
No, well, video, and I'll play a little guitar, and if we can coax in anybody who comes out to the event wants to play music, we'll coax you up to play guitar.
You're gonna have a little punk jam.
That's when we do this at high schools, we always get some of the kids to come up and sing whatever.
Oh, that's fantastic!
Want,
so you really ask them to be a part of the experience.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
We're gonna get you back to the Tom Wander radio experience right after this message.